Hey, Clausia here with the Q&A video that I was gonna do, and so let's do the Q&A video. I mean, that's how it works. Um, so I was asked by Bertrudor what my favorite day of the year is, and Christmas Day, it's pretty good. Runner-up would probably be Labor Day, because I don't know, Labor Day, it's got decent weather still. You can get it off. You just like stay around. And you don't do anything, or you do stuff, but stuff of your own choosing. So those days are pretty great. Um, let's see. Next one from Bertrudor. What is my favorite kind of cake or pie? I seem to remember having like some kind of Oreo cake one time that was really good. But also in general, like cheesecakes are good. The pies with like pudding in the middle are good. Instead of like being a normal pie, it's just like, I don't know, like a crust and like pudding on the crust. It works out pretty well. Um, so there's that. Next one from Bertrudor, because he, I think, asks me more than anybody else. How would I rank from 1 to N every major console released in the US? I found as I started trying to arrange them that I had basically a meaningful top 5, and then after that it was like, here are the consoles that either I didn't get super attached to or I never used them ever. Like, I mean, I don't think I've ever even seen a PS4. So, I mean, I could say that I've heard that the PS4 is better than the Xbox One, and the Xbox 360 I think was slightly better than the PlayStation 3, but I mean, we want to get like biased opinions based on how much fun I've had with consoles, and I just can't talk about how much fun I've had with consoles if I haven't had the console. So, after rambling for about an entire minute, number 1, I put the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, because as mentioned, this is all about bias. Yes. The Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or SNES, had a lot of games that I played in my childhood that were good, and some that weren't as good, but I got attached to anyway, like Bob. But the good ones would be things like Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, Super Metroid, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, Super Mario World. I mean, there's so many good classics on the Super Nintendo. So, I made it take number 1. Next, I have the PlayStation 2. Substantially farther in time. And, I mean, it had a lot of good games, too. I have trouble just, like, rattling them off. Like, Wild Arms 4 was really good. What else? I'm sure there was more. Dance Dance Revolution games were good. Odin Sphere. You know. I feel like I don't really have nostalgia for the PlayStation 2, or at least not as much as for the SNES, but there were a lot of really good titles. And after that, I have the GameCube. It, also had some solid titles like Super Smash Bros. Melee, still regarded by a lot of people as the best Super Smash Bros. And it definitely was a substantial improvement over Super Smash Bros. 64. Let's see, what else was on the GameCube? We had... man, I know I had a list of like 5 games I wanted to say, but I didn't actually write them down. I just wrote the list of the consoles in order. Custom Robo. That was an amazing game. Yeah, I mean, one thing that was notable about the GameCube over the PlayStation 2 is that it natively had 4 controller ports. So, I mean, that's a big help when you want to do anything multiplayer on a console. I feel like the GameCube also had just like a lot of games that I played as like the game of the week with friends, but we always returned to Custom Robo and Super Smash Brothers. And you know, what more do you need? Okay, next I have the N64. I mean, once again, it's all about the games, and I mean we have Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Blast Corps, you know, a lot of solid titles there. Mischief Makers? Anyone? Mischief being made? Yeah. And then taking the number 5 spot, I have the Wii. I really like Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and you know it had Super Smash Bros. Brawl. What else did it have? If I look back at my games again, oh yeah, it had Super Paper Mario, and I think Metroid Prime 3 Corruption was my favorite Metroid Prime game, because the aiming was better. Oh yeah, the Trauma Center 2 was good too. I mean, it's not all about the first party titles, although Nintendo is really good at first party titles. I played the Wii version of Twilight Princess, but I feel like I would have actually preferred the GameCube version. Yeah. So, a couple other consoles I want to comment on. The NES, it definitely started something, or maybe it didn't start it, but it definitely was a strong follow-up that allowed things to keep going. But a lot of its games don't really stand up against modern stuff as well as Super Nintendo stuff did. Like, I went back and played Kid Icarus. Well, actually, I played it on, like, Virtual Console. And that game does not have a good difficulty curve. If there were 8 worlds, it would be starting on, like, World 6. Eggplant Wizards are like, what? Who came up with these and why were they thought to be good in a game? But I mean, like, it was such an early title. They who did know what they were doing? Let's see. Also, I couldn't rank the Sega Saturn at all because I don't know anything about it. I mean, I know it's a game console. I guess it was around the same time as the Super Nintendo, was it? Maybe? Or was the Genesis alongside the Super Nintendo? I don't even know. I mean, I never heard of anybody with a Sega Saturn. And that's all I have to say about consoles, apparently. Let's see. Next one from Birchwood R. Star Wars or Star Trek? Now, that's an interesting one because I'm pretty sure Star Wars has the better video games. However, I think I've seen a lot more Star Trek because my mom really likes Star Trek and Star Trek Voyager was on, so, you know, I watched a lot of Star Trek Voyager. And I don't know, I think I kind of prefer that over the Star Wars movies. So maybe I won't name a winner. I guess if I had to pick, I'd say Star Trek. I could live without the Star Wars games. Even, yeah. I never played Knights of the Old Republic. Maybe I should have. Maybe that would tilt my opinion the other way. And the final question from Birchwood Orr. How often did you use cheat codes while playing video games as a kid? I would say maybe moderately often. Maybe like, I don't know. Maybe slightly below moderately, but non-zero. Like, I mean, if we wanted to be like King of Dragons or Legend of the Mystical Ninja, or Darius Twin, it's like, yeah, you use the cheat codes. We had a Game Genie. I'll admit it. Also, Contra 3 would sometimes use cheats. I have beat that game legit. I've also beat Legend of the Mystical Ninja legit as an LP. I mean, so I've gone back and beaten some stuff. I don't think I'll ever go back and beat King of Dragons legit because that's like ridiculous. I guess technically I've beaten King of Dragons without using cheat codes, if we're getting that specific though, because of the 99 continues glitch. But I mean, most of the like classic games like Super Metroid, Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, the ones people think of when they think of good Super Nintendo games, those I played legit. So there you go. All right, and Bertrandor is actually the only person that commented on my YouTube videos, but I got a few submissions, well, one submission with a lot of questions from a friend via email, and then I also got some questions via Steam chat. So, TurboTales98 asks via email, what's your favorite Pokemon? Because, you know, that's the example question when you're doing a Q&A video, as per Raukow's one time he did a Q&A video. Or I guess it was a Q&A series, wasn't it? Because he's more popular and got a lot of questions. But the answer to what my favorite Pokemon is Venonat. It used to be Jigglypuff, but Venonat. I should explain a little more. So, in Pokemon Heart Gold, I decided I was going to beat the game with only the bug type. I mean, there were some more precise rules, like you have until the first gym to actually fill your team with bug types, or not fill your team, but replace everything that's not a bug. And then there was some rules for HM slaves, but, you know, I used the bug type. And on the Pokewalker, before the first gym, I met a Venonat. And that thing stayed with me like forever, evolved into Venomoth, but, you know, it was an asset to the team. It had tinted lens, which is amazing. And yeah, so Venonat. Okay. Next question from TurboTales98. What are some streamers and LPers you like watching? Well, there's Raukow, there's what I think of as Bertrandor and company. Apologies to Tofu Boy and Tarquin, but you're just not who I view as the main person in the group. But I watch them too, don't worry. There's Isocitration, and then that ends the YouTubers list, I believe. I don't think I left anybody out that I really watch. But for streamers, there's a speedrunner by the name of Cherno TV. Cherno spelled like the Toho character, and then underscore TV. He speedruns Dark Souls, Super Meat Boy, and a few other games, like Half-Life 1. Yeah, so there's that, or there's him, rather. There's Caleb Hart 42, that's Hart as in H-A-R-T. He is another speedrunner. There will mostly be a theme. He does the Mega Man X games mostly, and also sometimes speedruns Earthbound and Final Fantasy VII. And then the other speedrunner that I watch on Twitch regularly is Fire Dragon 764, or maybe it's 764, I'm not quite sure. He does Super Mario Sunshine and Luigi's Mansion. And then also on Twitch, I watch a lot of Trump SC, mostly just called Trump, and he's a Hearthstone streamer. So, I don't know, I watch Hearthstone, I play Hearthstone. I watch like an order of magnitude more Hearthstone than I actually play. If we're in base 3 or something. It's not quite a base 10 order of magnitude, okay? Alright, so that's my list of streamers and LPers I mostly watch. Next question from TurboTales98 was actually 3 questions, but I'm counting it as 1 because apparently it's now relevant that we're counting questions or something, and this counts as 1. What's it like in the town you live in? Is it nice? What kind of stuff is there to do? And, well, it's actually not that nice, but I don't go out much, to the point that I don't actually know what kind of stuff there is to do. I'm aware that there's a movie theater just across the street from the block that my apartment's on, and I've never been there in over 2 years because I stay home and play video games. I mean, video games? Yeah, overall, I live downtown in a city, so, I mean, it is what it is. Let's see. So, next question. Are there any games that you specifically would not want to LP? Let's see. I think I would probably avoid anything difficult enough that I would have to do a ton of editing, because I don't like editing that much. I feel like I might not edit enough, but nobody complains because I'm not a popular LPer, and I don't have enough complainers following me or something. Let's see, I also am totally not into the horror genre, so I'm not gonna really do horror games. You will never see me play Five Nights at Freddy. I'm not gonna play it on my own time. And yeah, I feel like there was one specific game I was gonna list that didn't fit into either of those categories, but the only game that comes to mind is Dark Souls, which is in one of those categories. I have considered it anyway, but I don't think you'll be seeing Dark Souls. Unless I actually do beat it someday and like think it was really good, but it would not be a blind playthrough. Alright, what recording equipment do I use is the next question. Well, for software, I use OBS, which is Open Broadcaster Software. It's free, does everything I want it to. I actually, since I started using it, instead of whatever I was using before, Livestream Procaster, I could actually do the whole webcam in the corner thing when I'm playing and still record the game. I actually considered doing a PowerPoint presentation for this Q&A, but I decided it didn't really add any value. And then I would have myself in the corner. But I don't know. Mostly I'm worried about where on this video I would actually put the webcam. And you know, sometimes it's just nice to watch the game and not the person. Okay, for physical equipment, my current headphones, I used to use the microphone on them, and my video is mirrored compared to me. So I used this for like a year or something, just, you know, the headphones on them, the headset on its own. And then somebody complained, I think in one of the Brave Fencer Musashi videos, maybe it was more recent than that, that I had like a lot of popping and stuff or something in my audio. I can't remember the exact complaint, but I agreed that my audio quality could use a boost, so I got this microphone. It says Audio Technica on it on the front. It's got a tripod. You probably couldn't hear as well while I was pointing it away from myself because it's directional. I remember in one episode of Beyond Good and Evil, I had it facing the wrong way for the first 11 or so minutes, and it was noticeable. Let's see, besides that, I do have a couple capture devices that I use to capture like the GameCube footage that I did, but I didn't really like either of them. The first one, it actually was decent for a while, but then the external hard drive I was using with it died, and I tried to use it with a flash drive, and it kept like dropping frames, and I don't like dropped frames because when I was recording from the capture device, I did my microphone audio separately in Audacity, and then I would have to re-sync the audio with the video, or the microphone audio with the video. And yeah, I'll just walk over and see what it says on the device, just in case people are curious. It says Game Capture HD, so it's one of those. And then after that, instead of replacing my external hard drive, just in case it had been dropping frames all along and I just didn't notice, I decided to go with another device, which turned out that it also would drop frame, but I didn't know that in advance, of course. And it says USB Live 2 on it. I plug the AV cables directly into it. Oh, also, I'll mention that another disadvantage of my previous device is it could only accept component video. Well, my newer one accepts composite video, and I was trying to record GameCube at the time, and for a while I used a converter to convert the... Wait, was I converting up or down? I think I was converting up. I converted the GameCube output, but eventually the converter died too. And I think actually that's what prompted getting the new device. And the new device, besides its name, it also says Hoppage on it. That's like HAUBB Edge. Doesn't matter. I'm sure you can find it if you actually try to search it up. Or at least you can find the company, maybe not the device. If people are more curious about that, I could probably find a link or something and put it in the description, but only if people actually care. If I do go back to recording console stuff again, which I would like to, I'll probably get some new device anyway. I don't like either of the ones I already had. So let's see. That's everything about my hardware. I mean, unless I want to talk about my computer, but I mean, it's a desktop computer. It has reasonable specs. It's not specialized in any way. All right, next question. Any fan games / ROM hacks / Etsy that you would recommend? Especially ones that would be unreasonable to LP at some point. I actually don't have a good answer for this. I don't really play that many ROM hacks and fan games and stuff. I mostly just like watch raocow play them. I mean, obviously I did the ROM hack of Legend of Zelda Parallel Worlds, but I wouldn't recommend it. And let's see. That's the answer. I mean, okay. So I got 2 final questions via Steam chat from Ix the9X. Let's see. The first one was, what is your favorite unique system in an RPG, possibly including action RPGs, roguelikes, and such? Let's see. In terms of character building, I really like systems like Bravely Default, with Bravely Default being the top of them, where you can both like freely change your class and get benefits for classes that you used to be. Especially, I like in Bravely Default that you like have a number of points that you can allocate based to get like passives from your old classes, and sometimes you can even benefit from using points on your current class. I mean, that's cool too. Also, you can use like a set of skills from a different class. So I don't know. I liked that as far as character building. Let's see. As far as battle, there were 2 battle systems that really stand out to me. One is Child of Light. I really like that timeline. Being able to interrupt your enemies or need to conditionally defend based on where on the timeline things are, and you're continually reading the situation every turn. I mean, that's a lot of fun. And besides that, I like Wild Arms 4, its battle system. It was just slightly tactical because battle took place on a field of 7 hexes. It was only 7 every battle, and 3 of them had elemental affinities that you could like stand on them and have like elemental resistance, or your spells would become elemental. That was the only way you could actually deal elemental damage, short of using a item that like casts an elemental spell for you. So I mean, you have your positioning concerns, but it's still like a small field, and it's mostly RPG feeling combat still. Also, honorable mention to Wild Arms 4's character building stuff. When you leveled up, you got these points that you could put into either learning skills early or getting passives early, and then you could pull them back out freely, or as you leveled up, they were refunded to you because the number of points you had to spend is equal to the number of levels early you wanted a class feature. Each character only had 1 class, but they were pretty well designed. I think a class change feature in Wild Arms 4 would actually make the game worse. Because, I mean, you had your 4 roles, and they were the 4 roles, and, you know, that's what you needed. You had your main character that had the ranged attack. You had your mage that had all the magey stuff, and he was also the most mobile because he had jump and then later jump and act. I'll mention that back on combat, the universal force meter was a neat feature. You built up force by just doing actions, and then anybody could spend it. Or there were like team attacks that required force like more force, I think, something like that. But yeah. Oh, also your unspent points could also do something. You didn't just have to get stuff early. I'm back on character building. I guess maybe character building is not the right word for it, because that's like a literature thing based on like growth. But I'm still talking about growth, except it's like level ups and stats sort of growth. But anyway, your unspent points could be put into raising either your health or your mana. And so your points were never entirely wasted, even if you couldn't like exactly spend them on skills you wanted. So I mean, that was neat. And the next question, after I've just talked about how much I liked two different things of Wild Arms 4, is what is my favorite RPG overall? Well, guess what? It's Wild Arms 4. Right here, PlayStation 2. Let's see. In addition to really solid combat and really solid character growth and well-differentiated classes among the four main characters, it had decent out-of-combat, just like puzzle stuff. In each dungeon, there was a way that you could unlock the ability to turn off encounters. Once you had that unlocked for the dungeon, you could just tap, I think it was L2, and encounters were off. Or if you wanted them back on, you tap L2 again. So, I mean, that was neat. It let you just explore for any remaining treasures without worrying about encounters, and you could go through dungeons so fast without encounters. Let's see, what else was neat? I feel like, oh yeah, it had a really good mini game. You did platforming, because platforming is another out-of-battle thing you did. You had a double jump, and you had something that could slow time, which was also used in like solving puzzles. It was actually called the accelerator, because the theory was that the main character was just going really fast and was hyper aware of everything, but to you, the player, it looked like everything was slowing down. So yeah, Wild Arms 4, best RPG I've ever played. Or so that's it for the questions, and that took a while, so that's the video. I guess actually I did want to ask if anybody had any opinions on how the event went. Did you enjoy the shooters? Did you enjoy the QA video? If you made it to the end, I guess you can comment on that, because I'm curious how people liked it. Should I do something like this when I get to whatever my next milestone is, maybe with a different genre of game, or maybe I don't like do a bunch of games, maybe I just do one bonus LP along the side or something. I don't know, let me know. See ya!